important maps. But the most recent of these three maps was made in 1980? How many years ago was 1980? I need a mathematician. Oh my God, 37 years ago? In the last century, right. How many of you were alive in 1980? How many of you were not alive in 1980? All right. So since 1980, a lot of stuff has changed. A lot of things have changed, and one of the things that's changed is our understanding of sexuality and our understanding of gender. And all of these maps, I want to the credit of these researchers, each of these people who happen to be men, each of these men took everything that was known in their context, in their place, in their time. They took the cutting edge, like state-of-the-art knowledge of their moment of history and their location in history, and they moved us up the staircase of knowledge. They gave us tools which were extremely helpful, which really did move the conversation forward. That said, the last one was 37 years ago, and there are some things that we have learned since then that make it important for us to update these maps and build on the work that they did. So that's something that I have been trying to do. This program is called Beyond Binaries, and part of this program is we're going to be doing an anonymous research study of ourselves. We're going to be doing an anonymous study of ourselves using a map that I have tried to create that is updated and that avoids some of the limitations of these maps that I just discussed. One of the limitations of all of these maps is that they're based on the presumption of a gender binary. They're based on the presumption that there are only two genders. One of the things that has changed, and unfortunately this information has not gotten out to everybody yet, but one of the things that has changed is that there are a lot of people who identify outside of the two genders that we grew up thinking were the only two genders. There are a lot of people who identify as gender fluid, as gender queer, as gender non-binary, as agender, and so on and so forth. So if gender is a complex mess, just like sexuality, that means that models that are based on the idea of two and only two have a structural flaw. Does that make sense? And I think for some people in this room that made the idea of there being more than two genders may be new information, but that's where people are right now. A lot of younger folks are saying, no, actually it's more complicated than that. And us older folks are catching up. But that's what's happening. So we need to have a map that's not based on the assumption of two and only two genders. Another thing that's changed is culturally, we have started to make a distinction between sex and gender. And by sex, I'm not talking about the act of sex, I'm talking about the category of sex. So sex as a category is words like male or female or intersex. And sex is basically your bits that are involved with reproductive capacity. Sex is your bits. My friend Alison from London says, it's your private bits. Sex is actually in your physical body, it's your bits, it's your anatomy. It's the parts of your anatomy that are related to reproduction. Make sense?